What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Got one person. We'll wait for some more people to roll in. Smash the like button, do all the good stuff. 2 likes and 1 viewer? How does that work? I'm gonna go zoom in on a Bitcoin chart. That's a good start. What is this? Drawing template. Don't know why that's showing up, but that's alright. Four people. What's up, Honest? How are ya? I'm gonna start on the weekly. On the Bitcoin weekly chart. I don't know if people saw this from like a previous stream of mine, but let me just pause the music real quick because I'm gonna show you a little quick snippet just for fun. It's a quick video that I did. It's this one. Bitcoin. So look, I mean, what's happening on the 4 hour here on Bitcoin? Look at that could be the start of something. This just like over here, right? This was on the 7th of April, by the way. This was like when Bitcoin was down at 75k, something like that, 76. Even though it's at 79 here. Could this be a double bottom, you know? There was something interesting on Bitcoin that I was looking at on the Bitcoin index chart. If I go on the daily chart, look at this triple, like this W thing. It's like a triple. It's like an inverse head and shoulders thing. We kind of had that a little bit. I mean, this is a bit of a stretch to say this, that it's the same, but you had 1, 2, and then could this be another low that sort of is at least in the neighborhood of the previous lows, just like what these were, you know? Enough of a mattress to or a springboard to bounce us and trend us back up. Because lows can look like that. Lows can look really shocking and devastating and unrecoverable. And it's like at those devastating times, you know, is the pivot. The pivot happens at the most painful time of the drop. Bitcoin. So that's what I had. It was like just a little thing hinting at where the low might come in. And I think many, like, it didn't take an expert to see to see that. It was pretty easy. Let me just hide those lines and these lines. So it was just talking about, hide some of these as well for the minute. Yeah, this high here from last year, this is the weekly chart, by the way. Perfect resistance here, acted as resistance. And then, just going to change my pen. There we go. So yeah, acted as resistance, became support, broke out of a falling wedge, by the way. A really clean one too. It was like the perfect time to get long as we busted out of that trend line, that falling trend line right there. So today it's like, where are we at now? Like, what's the go? What's the situation? And at the moment, we're still in arm's reach of an all-time high on Bitcoin. There's no reason to say that this run here is over by any means. It's still very much up there, just consolidating. Like, we've got basically a rectangle situation. 100K, you can see that green line that I've got there. That's just an alert. I've got an alert set for $100,000. I don't even know that it's going to get back to 100 at this point. Look at the evidence of buying. As soon as it starts to drop toward 100,000, it gets bought up. Like, the buying is like very excited in that area. So that could be enough to hold us support like around this level, and then we get a nice eventual continuation, because at the moment it is an extremely bullish trend with a consolidation at the top. So there's like maybe a triangle thing here, a wedge. I know like yesterday or the day before we were looking, or a lot of people had this drawn in, these highs here, like maybe something like that, and then they had a trend line here like that. So that's what we were looking at. We were coming across like this, and it started to look like a wedge, and then all of a sudden, bam, we get that, and that's, you know, that's kind of devastating at the time. It's like, oh, that's, the fear comes back in, the fear sets in. So let me just quickly look at the fear and greed index, because I think that probably would have fallen a little bit. We were at 70, I think, yesterday, and today we are at, oh, that's still reading as 70. Okay, so as you know, over the last like few hours, we have actually found support and bounced for now. Structure-wise, this is only the hour chart, so there's not a hell of a lot of, you know, the hour chart. It is, I mean, it's stronger than all the charts below it, but it's not that influential. But you can find hints of the direction and like structure changes and that on the low time frames. So now we're like looking at something like this. We're just trying to pick out where the extremes are. Like, where's the extreme pivots on the bottom and the extreme pivots on the top. So there's obviously these two pivots. There's that one, and then these three, or you could even say this one over here. So we may still be inside some kind of a broader wedge, something more like that. Like if I get them to touch like this, it's probably more like that. What's up, Dirty? Dirty 3000. Yeah, it's just working its way toward an apex. We may get a resolution. It may resolve even today, like if we are able to bust out of here. Another thing I wanted to show was the moving averages. I know I've probably gone over this like in a previous stream, but I found like what I would use for swing trading would be like the 4-hour chart moving averages. Because let me go to the 4-hour chart and I'll show you what I mean. So you can adjust these averages, by the way, to whatever length you find works better. But I've got, basically it's a death cross, golden cross type. And let me get rid of the lines, all of the lines, or most of them. And you can see we had a golden cross here, right there. Oh, the lines come back, never mind. So golden cross here, golden cross here, golden cross here, and then there's a death cross here, a death cross here. There is actually a golden and then followed by a quick death right here. So that was a bit noisy. This is where this sort of strategy kind of fails a little bit. Like it's not strong when it's in a range. Just like here, like this was all very choppy, didn't really help. But it's these long-lasting signals that you want to get. You know, it's worth it to get into the ones that sort of see you through an entire rally. So That was a really good long there, obviously. This was a take profit signal right here. Like, you could have taken profit here and also here. So there was two opportunities to take profit and not have to see all of this drawdown with this strategy. So you could have avoided all that and then got back in at a really comfortable spot over here where there's a buy. Another buy that is it's shaping up to be incredible. Look, it looks even better than the start of this one that we had back in September, October, you know. So that is the 4-hour chart, moving averages. So you can actually take this down to whatever time frame you want. You can do this off the 5-minute if you wanted to. But what you're trying to do is you're just trying to avoid drawdown and then be in position for the move up. And you can do it on the flip side. You can look for shorts, and then, you know, like if you're only comfortable shorting, you can wait for these moments, for these little death cross moments where you get short and then, you know, write it down. As you know, it's not my style to look for shorts. I'm more keen on finding the long opportunities. And yeah, we're definitely in a long at the moment. There's nothing wrong with it. That is extremely healthy. You can see how deviated we are, like how spread out and vertical these moving averages are, just like here. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if these start to open up and get more aggressive. Like, if we're to break a new all-time high, these lines will do something like this. And it's just gonna spread out, and we're gonna potentially do that, you know? If it does anything similar to over here. So that could be fun. That could be a good like trend to follow on. But listen, the danger of getting in to a trade late, it just means you've got more risk than if you got in when the signal started. So when the signal starts is the best spot. So you want to take your signals as early as possible and position within them, especially during a squeeze, because this was the perfect moment. This bull flag, or this bull pennant, sorry. We had a double bottom, and we've got ourselves a bull flag. So much like the bull flag there, we've got another one up here. Like, we've got another bull flag, bull pennant. This was one at the time too. Like, there was, well, this is more like a channel, but you had something like that, which did initially break out, but then you had a back check. But yeah, that's the point. Is like, it's looking good. We're not even that far from the all-time high. There's the all-time high back in January. We're back to 103,000 and a half, 103,500. So all is looking bullish to me. XRP is suffering from some FUD at the moment. There was something to do with a rejection of the appeal amount, because I think they were appealing to reduce the Ripple fine to 50 million, but the judge said that it was like incorrectly filed, and so that she was gonna make them stick to the original $125 million fine, which is, I don't know why that is such a big deal to traders, but apparently it is. $125 million is not a lot of money to Ripple, because Ripple's worth billions, you know? So it's no big deal, I don't think. But I think it's causing a pullback. It's, you know, no doubt liquidating a bunch of longs in the local rally. I'm just going to see with a Fibonacci retracement where it's pulling back to, or where it could pull back to. So we're coming up on the 0.5 fib level on XRP. So there's a reason for a bounce there. And there's also, it's coupled with a trend line. If I jump up to a higher time frame, I'll delete that. Let's go to like, say, the 4 hour. You can see there's this trend line from the all-time high. So there's our all-time high back in January, just like Bitcoin's all-time high back in January. And it tracked downward. We've got a test there, so that causes that sort of locks in where the line's going to. There was also a little test here, but anyway, yeah, this line, we finally broke above it, and now, and remember, this is a big flipper. This is a big falling wedge, and quite commonly with falling wedges, it's you come and back check the top of it and you bounce off the flipper. So that coinciding with where that Fibonacci retracement was from this leg, you've got two reasons as to why XRP could bounce at basically $2.37. Something like $2.37, I think, could be a bounce point. So we'll see if it does. We'll see if it holds. It's coming down pretty rapidly right now, relatively speaking. Like if you jump down on the 15-minute chart, there's this new candle that's forming a new low. But so I'm theorizing that we get some kind of reaction off of that area. But you know, don't get your hopes up. it could break down through it, and we could re-enter the wedge. Who knows? Or it could be gunning for the golden pocket. Like, let me just adjust this Fibonacci. Clean fibs, I think. Yep. All right. So you can see it's, yeah, if the 0.5 doesn't hold, if the top of the trend line doesn't hold, you've got the golden pocket, which is another popular or very common area for a reversal or reaction. So it's either going to do that or it's going to do that, maybe. And that would actually swing fail nicely below this low, this little mid-trend point. But what is it? It's like we've almost got the hourly close. We've got 40 seconds left of this hourly candle, which has been crazy. Like, what the hell? What's Bitcoin doing right now on the hourly chart? Nothing too crazy, nothing too bad. It's reacted with the top of the wedge. You can see this line is actually very... You can count on trend lines. Trend lines are good. Trend lines are important to know where they are. 1, 2, 3, fourth rejection at this trend line of resistance. We've had so far 1, 2 of this support, but we had to readjust that because we've got more data to go off. The wedge is pretty uniform, like as far as the angle goes. Like the top angle is a little steeper than the bottom angle is, like, you know, climbing, but they're very close in angle, but we'll see. I mean, we've got a 5-minute golden cross. Golden cross here. So you can see, like, yeah, these moving averages, you can take them to whatever time frame you like. The 5-minute chart, you're going to get, look, see how many signals there are. It causes a lot of noise. Like, you get a lot of in and out, in and out, in and out. It tells you to get in and out very often. So this is not good for trading. It's good for like a grid bot, but if you're trying to catch a trend, these are not trends. These are like maybe 1-minute chart. You could catch some quick, where was it? It was back here, wasn't it? Yeah. On the 1-minute chart, you could probably catch a little long here and then take profit over here where it crosses back down. And, you know, getting in here was bad because it was supposed to be a long and then it crashed. So yeah, you got to be careful when it is very like tight volatility. And this is why high time frame signals are better, because high time frame signals last a lot longer and it smooths out all of the noise. So the higher time frame, the better. So the 1 hour chart's not too bad. Look, you know, you got a signal here. You stayed in for like days, like on this one. You took profit here, and then we got long again because we got a new signal. So we're long again. And we're right now on the 1 hour chart threatening to cross. Threatening to sell, so it could almost be a sell on the hour chart. But yeah, you get the gist. Now, the other thing I was saying about the trend lines, or sorry, the moving averages, is you can use different lengths. If you think you can find like a pair up that's gives you better signals. I think for the let's go down to the 15-minute chart. Like, how do we clean that up, like to give you better clarity on what's going on? I think let's try 50 20 50 and 20. No, that adds more noise, so more sensitive. I think there was one, what was it, 12 and 30 or something like that, which is good for like small time frame scalping. If you go down to the 1 minute, yeah, this is really scalpy type moving averages. It's a lot more sensitive to little fluctuations, so that was a good one, obviously. But yeah, the problem is when you do that, it just adds more signals, more noise, more signals. I don't know if that works for some people on like high leverage micro scalping, in and out like within minutes. But you could have caught that trend there, because look, crossed up, sold over here. That's a nice trade there. It's currently in a short. If you're playing it like this on the 1 minute chart, you're shorting this move, and then you'll close that short once these lines like cross back up, for example. Like if it came over here like that, you would close it out and maybe switch to a long like when it closes. But so far we are in the final hour of the daily candle. I'm going to change this back to 50 and 200 and jump up to a higher time frame, so you can see that, yep, we're just still in that range. No threat. XRP, okay, look, we're starting to really put this 50 to the test, this 50 fib. 50% fib level. So I think it looks like it's going to break down through it. The velocity of the drop here is so fast. But let's wait and see. It could become a wick. You know, sometimes these drops are just like a wick, and then the candle closes up above the support and then it repivots. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, it seems to be, yeah, breaking down. This hour is not great either. The previous hour was another really violent red engulfing candle. We're just getting more blood, which is good if you're trying to get into Ripple. This is throwing you an opportunity to do so. And if you're shorting it, this is great. Fantastic. Let's check the heat map for XRP. You can see quickly that the Bitcoin heat map, you got a lot of liquidations at like 105k, 105, 300. There's a lot of liquidity sitting there, so that's a reason to go up. XRP, yep, look at all that liquidation that's happened in the last couple of days, or in the last 24, 48 hours. We've got a lot of liquidity up here. That's short liquidity. So people that shorted this high are getting paid. Like they're making money. It's really good for them. I'll jump out on the weekly. I just want to see. Oh, look at that. This is down at $2.30. I can see they may as well push it down to around 230 to go grab. Look at that hotspot of liquidity. That's all long liquidity. So if they go snatch that up, maybe that's what they're chasing. That's what they're trying to get to. Yeah, you can see how bright it is on here. But there is, yeah, a lot of people went long in this rally. So that's why there's all this below it. So what an opportunity for the market maker to go make money off everyone. And look, oh, are we trying to do something with this 0.5? We're at $2.37, so it only has to drop 7 cents to go grab all of that bright patch of liquidity there. If they drop it to 220, they can, you know, carve out a little more. There is this other patch here at about $2.25. The push to 225 would solve all that. But yeah, this heat map can give you little hints at where they might. Just gives you like more of a reason as to why they might take it somewhere. So if I just hide all the lines, you can see on the daily chart, XRP's had a shocking day today. Given back a lot of that progress. Bitcoin has maintained the progress. I bet you the Bitcoin dominance is going up at the moment, just by looking at these charts. These are the majors, by the way. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Binance. I've got Solana twice here for some reason. Doge and ADA, Cardano. I think Solana is supposed to be here, yeah, and then BNB, then... Let me look at the list. What is it? Coin market cap. We got, yeah, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, BNB, then Solana. These will switch places because they're so close in market cap. Doge, Cardano, and Tron. So we'll put Doge in this box. The ADA. And then Tron, TRX. Do I have a Tron chart? I should. It's TRX. There it is. You just add a little tag in there for it. Tron's actually been pretty good this year. And last year it did really well. Surprisingly. Like, check it out just real quick. Look at that spike. What the hell? December of last year, it just went on a rampage. This is the daily chart, so you can see, yeah. It had been rallying since like mid-September. Like, you started like a nice rally. October was good, then November there was a bit of a dip, but then an extreme explosion up into December. And then since then it had to correct heavy. What is that correction? It's like a 55%. That's like a bear market type correction. Ardo says, any update on Ethereum? Yes, we can have a look at Ethereum. But yeah, look, Tron has seemingly turned the corner and it is grinding back up again, so that's cool. Ethereum still looks not even that different to Bitcoin at the moment. Yes, there was maybe a bit deeper of a pullback that it still has to recover, but let me open up Ethereum against Bitcoin is what dominates the Bitcoin dominance chart for for lack of a better word. Let me show you that real quick. So you can see dominance is climbing again. So dominance reacted really, really beautifully off this unfortunate support line here that we've been using for like 2 years now. Let me go to the weekly. Yeah, we've been using this like ramp for like, it started in late 2022, like the bear market. So this entire bull market, dominance has been using this slope to go up. This produced a nice little November alt season. And then this little mini alt season that we've seen, this little breath of fresh air for the alts. But look, dominance bounced off this line, unfortunately, for the altcoin people, including me. But that's all right. Bitcoin just wants to go grab new highs, maybe, you know. We'll see if it holds. It could still break down, but Ethereum is the biggest implication to Bitcoin dominance because it's the second largest of the altcoin of the entire crypto market, right? So it has the most weight as far as like others are concerned, or alts. So there's nothing wrong with its trend. It hasn't like broken out and made, you know, bearish structure. Still has all of its bullish structure. This pivot right here, which caused resistance back in February, is going to be like, you know, that's a test for Ethereum to get above. So like that, we're going to look at the fibs as well, but you can see that level there, it's a little bit of an SR level. So it was resistance here. You could argue that it almost was support here if you treat it more like a bubble, like a sort of like a zone rather than just a line. It's like an SR zone. So we're going to come up on that and see, oh look, if you take this line across here, look, it was support along with that line. Was there any kind of reactions off it before? It's that 2,800-ish level. But anyway, in the local area, and I say like the last 18 months, we've had like a triple bottom at it here. A big test of support here. So it's been support, support, and then it caused, well, I mean, it's even a stretch to say that it's resistance, but we couldn't get back above it at that point. And then, yeah, support here, resistance. And then this is the big test. Like, do we get above this I'm going to call it 3K, even though it's a little higher than the level. But getting above 3K convincingly is going to be such a new paradigm for Ethereum on the local, on its journey back to the top, you know. But 3K is a big deal. So hopefully it's not a rejection. If we jump down to the 1 hour chart, like it's still in an uptrend. Like there's nothing wrong with the pivots here. You've got a low here, a low here, and a low like here seemingly. So these all are intact until we get new information. We're working with something like that. So it's really testing that level at the moment. You could try and bend it to our will and say that we're on top of it. But yeah, I think we haven't had a major breakdown off this trend line. That's the point. Even though it's threatening to do it, but we got 45 minutes left of today's candle. So yeah, we've still got the bullish market structure. I'll draw it in on this time frame. This is the hourly chart. We'll just use this high because it's a double top, and then this pullback, and then this high, and then this pullback. So that's where we're at right now. We've somewhat bounced, and we're just trying to see, does this continue like that, or is this low gonna get lower than this one? If that low gets lower than this low, that is a structure break, and that means you've got a downtrend. But everything is still higher, so that's why we're still calling it bullish for now. So this is an important level right here. Make this dashed and like green. Okay, so that has to stay intact, just like this one did. This one stayed intact. This 2,300. So it seems to be going in $100 increments. You've got a 2,300 support, a 2,400 support, and now a 2,500 support. So it's just climbing up. And then what's next? What, like a 2,600? After we make a new high, like does it pull back to 26 and get another $100 increment support? I don't know, but just be cautious. Trend lines aren't impenetrable. They can get broken, so be careful of it breaking down. Don't expect it just because it's there that it holds. It may break down, but a lot is riding on. Yeah, look, XRP's losing that idea that I had. Still got 40 minutes left of this hourly candle, but like that. Jump out to the 4 hour. Yeah, XRP's really getting punished right now. I think they're gunning for that liquidity, is what I think. This bright spot in liquidity. Zoom out to the weekly. Yeah, this one. $2.30, and like, if they really want to push it, 226, 225. So I'm going to draw like a little target area. So of that, where that liquidity is, there's a 230 and a 225. And I'm just trying to see. So the 230 links up really nice with that golden pocket. So that could be the next theory on where we get a little bounce. It would be a swing fail below this low here. So swing fail. And block that. Got 40 minutes left of the hour. It's trying to hold. I can see there's buying happening at the moment. Let's go down to the 5 minute. There's some buyers, but I mean that means nothing. It could just be, you know, like dead cat buys basically. I'm sure most of you guys are aware what a dead cat bounce is, but it's like during a downtrend when you get like a little tiny rally that goes against the trend. That's a dead cat, that's a dead cat, and then that's a dead cat. So these three, sort of, the bull's trying to buy it back, maybe, and catch the pivot. Now this, obviously, is not a dead cat, because it actually rallied and trended up. But, I mean, this is down on the 5 minute chart. It's causing carnage. I think they really... I would suspect that this does go down to $2.30. 225, 230, somewhere like that, because that takes care of this liquidity down here. It's so close. Like, they may as well just go grab it so that they can get that out of the way. But I don't know. Like, it just depends. Like, if it gets front run, maybe it doesn't get grabbed. Like, if the buyers start stepping in, we'll have to wait and see. 14 people tuned in. You know, it's incredible that, maybe it's because of my inconsistency, but we only got 14 people with Bitcoin, you know, near an all-time high. Like, look, we're just down here. All-time high is here. That is not far, and we've only got 14 people tuned in. And in the US right now, what is it? Like prime time, New York, 7:20 p.m. Most people should be at home and available to, So I just think retail's not even dialed in yet. Like they're not even in at the moment. They're not even looking. This is such a critical time for Bitcoin and crypto, and no one's really interested. Retail's not on board yet. You know what? I think they got on board when Bitcoin breaks the all-time high and starts going price discovery. They're going to be late to the party, sort of thing. That's a kind of like that's a scenario that we saw back in 2021. Bitcoin had the 20K all-time high over here, and retail didn't get involved until until things were really like ramping up and heated up. Because look, the all-time high was there. We came up, double topped it, pulled back. So retail probably weren't even looking or involved yet until the breakout happened. That's when all the volume picked up. So the crowd is yet to come, I think. I think we just ain't at that point yet. We're close, but yeah, the continuation hasn't happened just yet. So things are still quiet. Hence 11 people. Alright, I think I might wrap this one up, even though we've only got like 37 minutes till the daily. 36. But yeah, like these are the levels I'm looking at. I want to see Bitcoin hold 100,000. It'd be good to see it break bullish out of this bull pennant formation. It's squeezing, it's definitely squeezing, but hopefully the reaction's up and not down. But it could go either way, really. Who knows? It's kind of like black swan dependent. If we get a black swan, then if we get any negative news, then yes, there'll be reason to go down. But if all stays relatively healthy and normal, there was a bit of FUD that came out not that long ago, Coinbase, saying that 1% of their user base had their data hacked. So someone's accessed their, name, address, age, like all that kind of the personal information, their details. So 1% of Coinbase having their personal details, accessed, that doesn't mean that the market has to fall over. It's bad, and it might be fabricated, to be honest. It might just be some BS to cause the pullback that we saw. But don't know. Look at the reaction. It was a big buy. Look at this distance here from down here, the depths of that FUD. There's been a huge buy. People probably seeing that it's not a big deal. But yeah, let's just see what happens. By the next stream, we'll know. XRP's still getting hammered. Hammered down. Same with, Doge, Cardano, Solana. Ethereum's still holding ground nicely. BNB is as well. But yeah, if they lose these lows, then it could be, not just a small downtrend. It could be like a bit longer lasting than we hope. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to this small crowd that joined in. Hopefully there's some more reason to stream. Maybe a Bitcoin all-time high breakout. That would definitely be a reason to turn the stream on. But other than that, it's just more waiting game, especially for the alts now that we're getting this pullback. But yeah, thanks guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.